Hello everyone, welcome back to Game 2 of Strossus versus Bane. Let's see, Strossus up here at the top of Blistering Sands will be again the Purple Terran. And it looks like we have a repeat matchup, Bane again randoming Zerg. So we shall see if Bane again goes for that kind of wonky over first then 10 pool. He can actually poop out the spawning pool a little bit quicker, get the Overlord while the spawning pool is building, and be a little bit better off, I think, if I remember correctly. We do have Bane putting it by his natural, his first Overlord by his natural, which could mean a fairly quick expansion. Having an Overlord around there will help prevent any sort of bunker rush, because when you're building a hatchery, as Strossus puts down, again, a walling off supply depot, or the start to a wall off, anytime you have a building for Zerg, the hatchery especially, you get very small sight range. It's like you can see maybe out to, you can see like this much. The bunker, of course, can be placed here, here. Here's a pretty popular place. Here's not bad either. Anywhere where you can have limited surface area for Zerglings to attack. We do have that first scouting SCV out for Strossus. Now again, building his barracks. This time in a little bit better of a spot. He doesn't have to lift off to put an add-on there at all. And getting his gas at around where he should, around 13. That's typical Terran type of opening. We do have Bane. This time maybe getting his spawning pool a little bit later. Again, not getting his extractor in time for that sort of quick speedling build. His opponent Strossus now knows that he is Zerg and is going to be expecting some sort of similar playstyle from Bane. Let's see if he decides to do that. He does see the spawning pool is down. Probably is going to stick around the base for a little bit. I would actually check this out just in case. We do know that he doesn't have an expansion down, but it's always good to check. Now, the wall off is complete before Bane can get his scout in, so he won't have any clue because his first two Overlords are protecting his backside and his front door. So this is common when a Terran completes his wall off and you send a scouting drone, SCV, or probe. He will get stuck. He will know there's a wall off and try to take the next shortest path in there, but he will be going up there just to check instead. This Marine getting a couple good shots off, but again alerting Bane of that impending attack. And Strossus keeping his scout alive in the line of sight blocker. We've seen this a lot in a bunch of different places. We do see though that Strossus is putting out a tech lab, and that is the most curious case of anything I've ever seen. Of course, if you went here first, you wouldn't be able to get back in the base, and hijinks would ensue. But again, a Marauder coming out, and I'm not sure what the point of that is, especially against a Zerg player. You don't need Marauders that early. Even early Roaches, you won't be able to beat it. And we do have a sneaky factory going up for Strossus off of one gas, does have his orbital up, and now Bane just being annoying, making sure that his opponent isn't doing anything out of the ordinary. If this was a reactor, that could have been a pretty heavy Hellion opening, and that would have been bad news for Bane, who has nothing really to counter. It looks like he's going again for that kind of all-in type of Baneling bust, and we do have some Zerglings in the back here, tearing down the destructible rocks as best they can, but we do have Strossus seeing that, and they're going to try to ward away the Zerglings as best he can, which actually is pretty well. And Bane trying to keep that one. If there are just Marines here, you can always keep your guys here, and we'll be able to attack, but that Marauder does have a range of 6, which covers that little tiny area. The barracks are not doing much, as the factory is now getting a tech lab, so it looks like we're going to see some siege tank play. Zerglings moving out across the map again, similar to that of what we saw on Metalopolis. This time, of course, it could be a little bit more effective, but Strossus is probably going to see to it that that doesn't happen the same way again. But the Zerglings now with speed will go off to the front of his opponent's base and start morphing some Banelings. We do need, it looks like he's going to wait here for a little bit, need 6 to bring down a supply depot. And with this amount of bio on the field, we do have more coming out, as well as the first siege tank, or first Hellion. Is he going to get pre-igniter? Or what's the point of that tech lab? I'm not sure. But he's getting a second factory, so we might be seeing a pretty heavy Hellion opening as Bane gets his expansion up and running. Now, the Zerglings actually time it perfectly, one is able to scout in his opponent's base, see these hidden factories, and will be able to do a little bit of damage as his opponent is thinking about heading out. We'll see that the Banelings are ready and raring to go, all 6 of them, as well as a ton of Zerglings. It looks like this guy is still alive somehow, trying to, unfortunately, getting caught there. We'll see if he decides to move out or lets his expansion get going. We do have these cute little Banelings here. And Strossus actually pulling back, going forward, pulling back, probably select a little bit more of his units. I'm not sure why he's moving back with all his bio. And then sending his Hellion out, because his Hellion will get surrounded and killed with no kills. And that is not good. Now he does, though, see that his opponent does have a ton of Zerglings. Not sure why Bane decided to poke up there. Should be using the Banelings that he has up there. Unfortunately, he needs to send a little bit of a Zergling Vanguard. Ooh, don't have your... Oh, 1-8. Bane, no. You're going to waste your Banelings. You're going to waste half your Zerglings trying to get up the ramp. And we do see a little bit of focus firing on those Banelings. But now, Banelings doing a little bit of damage to the Marines, and a little bit of damage to the Marauders. They should... Let's see, Hellions moving out. We do have a couple Hellions out, and they should be able to clean up these Zerglings. But the damage to both players is pretty good, and now these Hellions might decide to counterattack. Bane has nothing, as he was power droning. Does have his layer up, don't see any layer tech. And now we see a couple of... It looks like he was neglecting a ton of his Queen's energy, and will be putting down 2 Creep Tumors. Doesn't have a Queen out of his expansion quite yet, and now we see that these Zerglings we're trying to poke in here will die to these 2 Hellions. And we do have Siege Tech, as well as a reactor on one of those factories. We have a 3rd factory going down, so it's going to be heavy mech play as he gets a very early expansion, and very, very distinct and different from what we saw earlier. We do have the Hellions moving out across the map. It looks like these Zerglings are going to get a quick surround, but 2 more Hellions might be able to do a little bit of damage, roasting a couple of them. Spine Crawlers going up. I would actually love for this to be somehow located on the other side of the ramp, because otherwise it's too easy for a Hellion to move up and absolutely destroy these. A little bit of micro here from both players. It looks like Strossus getting the better end of that, getting very, very lightly toasted here, but the Zerglings getting roasted. And that was not intentional, and it was not even really clever, punny, or funny. So, forgive me. But it looks like Strossus is going to continue building a ton of units here. We do have a Siege Tank out, Hellion, couple more Hellions, and we do see a Tech Lab going up. He also had an armory, or has an armory, I thought. Yeah, right there, right in front of my face. So we could see some Thor play. We do have one in production as well. Strossus just finishing his natural, and Bane getting more drones. Looks like he has not been effectively raising an army, as we do see the army value distinctly in Strossus' favor. Huge advantage, and that's the risk you run. Look at that, 34 drones, but he doesn't have enough to stop this. Even Hellion's going to be doing a little peckish damage to the rocks, and if he has nothing to counteract that, he could be in trouble. Will Bane be? But mutas are on the way. This drone going to be sent out to the middle of nowhere, making a hatchery. No, a Hydra den. So these Hellions going to take their sweet time. And look at the vision of Bane. That's so good. That's incredibly good. But these Hellions going to do just a little touch of damage each time. We do have a ton of Zerglings. The Hydra den coming in. Bane still, floating with a lot of minerals, not getting up as high as his opponent is, and now a very, very scary push. This Thor here going to be taking a lot of damage and also doling out a ton of hits. We do have Siege Tech for those Siege Tanks. Very little fragile for anti-air. He only has about 5 Marines, I'd say, if I can double-click them. Yeah, it is 5 Marines and a Thor for anti-air, but he does have, it looks like, Hellions preventing the run-by Zerglings, a lot of Banelings, and another Spine Crawler, as well as these Mutas. And we'll see exactly what happens. It looks like these rocks are going to go down quite quickly, and he's just going to walk in here. Bane, seeing that, moving away his Overlord. One sieged tank, I should say, And Bane not doing anything. Looks like he's going to be microing a little bit. Has a Mutiling type of build here. This Hydra Den not really being useful at all. And now both players going to be aggressive on both ends. And we do have these Mutas coming in, and the Thor now getting distracted. These Banelings doing a lot of damage. These Mutas actually taking out the siege tanks in the back, but unfortunately are not getting used. And Bane struggling to get something out. All these Zerglings, though, will go down quickly to the amount of Hellions that Strossus has. These Mutas not being useful at all. And unfortunately, ooh, roasty toasty drone time. They will get most of them, and will get probably shoot away by the spine crawlers. And look at that, nice try, Bane, by walling off with those Zerglings. Unfortunately, all your tech is going to go down. Your spawning pool will be last. Smart placement by you. Nothing going on for Strossus right now. Still off of 2 base, not producing much except for mech units, and now Bane in a very bad spot. And I think there's not a lot he can do to get out of this. Has a ton of minerals, do both players, but Bane really never got off to the right foot, because he went in with that all-in maneuver. Unfortunately, got punished for it with this kind of build that Strossus did. Broodlings being pretty effective, unfortunately, doing a little bit of damage here for the on the Thor. But now, I mean, the Thor is just racking up kills after kills after kills. Muta's darting back in here. But unfortunately, grouping up a little bit too close. Apparently, he doesn't know about the magic box trick. Had he would have easily been able to take out all this and be a little bit better off. But again, I don't see much happening. He is taking a 3rd base. Well, actually, a 2nd base now that the first one, his main, has gone down. But just too many units back in Strossus' main. Looks like he's retreating. Not sure why he is doing that. Maybe he scanned and saw that his opponent has these units. But now Strossus moving 1 Thor back out of 3 at his base, as well as a 4th one. And this was probably Bane being skittish because of he is stacking his Mutas. Look how damaged they are. And that's not too good. Hellions poking in here. Probably going to be able to do a ton of damage on the Queen. But as soon as he gets closer to... Oh, those Banelings poking out just in time. We do have a 2nd spawning pool now out for Bane. We do have some hero transfusion going down. Needs 1 more. And it looks like he missed. Queen trying to escape with 2 HP. Hopefully she can get a clutch spawn off. And 26 Zerglings will be able to handle this a little bit easily. But it's this that it won't be able to take out. Unfortunately, even though Marauders aren't too useful against Zerglings, the Thors, of course, will be able to tank along a lot of the damage, allowing that paltry 10 damage, and Bane trying to save what he can. Unfortunately, the Spine Crawler goes down, and now 2 Thors are a tall order for any Zerg to handle, especially just Zerglings. Now a 3rd Thor making his appearance on the scene, and Bane in a bit of a bind here. I don't think those Mutas were too effective. I'm not sure where they went on the field. But it looks like they have disappeared, or, yeah, they're not on the field anymore, so they died. 1 Thor may go down, 4 done, okay. Now Hellion's going to shoo away these Zerglings, a lot of Hellions, actually, and Bane calls it GG, so we're off to Game 3 on the last set of the round of 8. So, join me then. Not sure what the map will be. It'll be an adventure for both of us.